What is going on with Bob Huggins? For those that don't know, Bob Huggins was the longtime coach for West Virginia basketball. Before he was the coach at West Virginia, he was at Cincinnati, and he has a ton of wins and really is a legend in college basketball for what he has achieved. But recently he found himself in some trouble because he was doing a radio interview, and during that interview he said a homophobic slur. Now, he was able to keep his job, but they did a formal amendment to his employment contract. It had several stipulations in it. It had a sort of probationary period to it, a reduction of pay, and some other requirements. Then, just a few weeks after that, he got in trouble again. This time it was for an arrest for DUI. Now, the allegations around this DUI are pretty bad. They are just allegations right now, but the report says that he was nearly 3 times over the legal limit. I think there were allegations that there was an open container and he might not have even known what city he was in at the time of the arrest. After the arrest, there was a lot of pressure on the university to take some action, but what could have got messy ended up not being that messy because Bob Huggins resigned. And at least that's what we all thought. Uh, that course seemed like a good outcome for the university because it saved a potential conflict between them and this longtime figurehead of their basketball program. Well, fast forward a few weeks later, and the university receives a letter from an attorney representing Huggins. And this letter says that Huggins never formally resigned from his position. And then, somewhat weirdly, the letter also says and demands that he should be reinstated to his position as head coach. Now, in this letter, the attorney also says that his employment agreement requires any formal notice to be done via registered mail or certified letter. And they claim that the only written correspondence regarding his resignation to the university was an email that was unsigned and sent from his wife's email account. Huggins released his own statement in which he said that the previously released statement from the university, which seemed to be a statement from Huggins himself where he said he was resigning, was not done by him. Huggins said he had never seen that statement and it was released without his approval. Now, when you just read the letter from Huggins' attorney and you just read his statement, there seems to be a little meat to this. Those notice provisions that you have in your contracts, they do matter, and you have to be careful with those and complying with them. Cases have turned on a failure to strictly comply with a notice provision. But the university has already sent out a letter in response to these allegations from Huggins and his attorney, and really it seems like they are able to address everything that is being raised by Huggins. With regards to the email resignation letter, they say that they actually corresponded with Huggins' attorney at that time about sending in the resignation via email. They claim that his attorney asked them specifically, can we do it by email from his wife's email account, because they were having technical issues. And out of good faith, the university agreed to that, and there was even a conversation about what needed to be included in that email. They also note that Huggins came into the facility the next day, cleaned out his office. He spoke to the team, told them he was resigning. With regards to that statement that Huggins is saying he never saw or approved, well, they say that they sent it to his attorney and his attorney approved it, and that they only released it after getting approval from his attorney. The university noted in their letter something that I think is pretty important, which is the actual employment agreement apparently does not say that all notices must be done via certified mail or registered mail. What it actually says is that notice provided by certified mail or registered mail would be sufficient. This is an important difference. This eliminates that strict technicality that Huggins seems to be relying on. And they also noted that even if the language did say that it must be communicated by registered mail or certified mail, that their course of conduct in the past didn't require that. They had agreed to waivers in the past of that notice provision. And then the circumstances here show that there was an agreement for a waiver in this case as well. And so even if that language was in the contract as they claim, there's plenty of evidence to show that there was an agreement to waive that provision in this case. One last thing that I want to note on this is that reading between the lines of these correspondences, it feels to me like a lot of the drama we are now dealing with stems from a lack of communication or a misunderstanding of what was going on between Huggins and his first attorney, his previous attorney. I think that whether it was Huggins' fault or the attorney's fault, I don't know, and I may never know the answer to that. But it seems like there were things happening that he was not fully understanding, and that there were things being agreed to that maybe he didn't even know were being agreed to. I don't know if he actually saw that statement, for example, or not. But unfortunately and sadly, where that leaves us now is we're dealing with a situation that I think will definitely tarnish his legacy with West Virginia and that program and basketball fans there in that state. For Arkansas fans, it's easy to relate and be sympathetic to that. Our greatest coach of our program to date, Nolan Richardson, it took decades to really rebuild that relationship after he was let go and ended up in a legal battle with the school. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see how it plays out. That's my thoughts on it, having reviewed everything that I've seen so far.